yourself, would you really care if you knew that the Lord was a black man with woolly hair? They say black is beautiful.
First and foremost, we want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, his Father, in the name of his Son, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. I'm back at it again, but this one's going to be a little different, okay? I'm going to first show you a clip. It's about 10 minutes long, and I'm going somewhere with it, so I want you to watch the clip first, so I don't want to let you know actually what's going on, but you're going to see what this, it's not really a lesson per se, but since it's Black History Month, but you know how we feel about that. You know, it's Black History every month, and we don't go for that term black and how the world perceives us in these times today. But go ahead and watch this clip, and then we're going to get into what it's all about, okay?
Who would you guys say is the most dominant athlete or are the most dominant athletes in sports today?
Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps,
LeBron James,
Kobe Bryant,
Usain Bolt.
But I got a guy who's not a household name, but he is as dominant, if not more dominant, than any athlete in any sport. He's been breaking records, breaking barriers, and making history since he was a little boy.
I know who you're talking about. My son has his poster on the wall.
All right.
I mean, with that generation,
so he is a household
counts.
name in Tom Ferry's house.
That's right.
Okay.
James Bubba Stewart, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
This is a guy who makes his living on the dirt. He's the fastest man on two wheels.
I don't ride with fear. Nobody can go around that track faster than I can.
James Stewart is showing no signs of letting up.
I want to win.
Are you the most dominant performer in any sport?
Yeah.
In the 85-year history of motocross, no one has ever seen anything like James Stewart.
James Stewart seems to be from another world.
James Stewart is the fastest supercross rider on the planet.
He's an 11-time amateur champion, youngest supercross champion, winner of 40 of his last 46 races, and the first African American to win a major motorsports championship. The 23-year-old Stewart is often compared to another dominant, groundbreaking athlete. And just like Tiger Woods, the driving force behind Stewart's success is his father.
My dad used to race when I was younger, so he didn't put a basketball in front of me. He put a motorcycle.
The day that James came home from the hospital, before I ever took him in the house, I crunk up my KX250 and I give him a ride on the bike. He was 3 days old, and I kind of eased off the clutch and took off, and then I was one-handed holding him and riding the bike.
Stewart grew up in an all-black neighborhood in Winter Haven, Florida. His father worked at a packaging plant. His mother at a fast food restaurant. Stewart's parents bought him his first motorbike when he was 4 for Christmas. Father and son would often race at the all-white motocross track a few towns over.
He would come home from school and he would get on that bike and he would ride it and he'd ride it to dark. I would have to make him get off of it. I said, why are you riding so much? I gotta beat those guys. I gotta practice. And that's what he did.
To support his son's passion, Stewart's father would work 70 hours a week on the graveyard shift, so he and his son could ride in the afternoon. To help pay for used racing gear, track fees, and fuel, James Sr. resorted to collecting bottles and cans for extra money.
My dad always wanted to be, a superstar at racing. That was something he loved to do. But when I got started, we couldn't afford to race, so he had to pick and choose. And, he chose to take his son and make him.
Young James Stewart Jr., a rider we're seeing and hearing from more and more lately.
Was there any tight times out there for you, partner?
No.
What are you going to do the third moto? winning.
While his son was breaking records as an amateur, James Sr. says he shielded him from the reality that they weren't always welcome in a predominantly white sport.
I faced a lot. I remember we went to this track up in Alabama. The guy looked at me and he said, we don't race niggers here. And I said, good, because I come here to race a motorcycle. James, he was little. He said, Dad, what that man say? I said, don't worry about it, son. It's all good. Let's go ahead and kick that butt and we go home.
It didn't hit me until my first year in pro that I was different from everybody else. I mean, if you would asked me, I probably said I was white. You know, people would boo me, you know, for getting second and, you know, cheer a third place guy. You know, it didn't register me that I'm black and they're white. And I never paid attention because at the end of the day, I was just trying to beat them.
But at a race in 2007, Stewart couldn't ignore the racist taunts of some spectators.
We was up in, you know, stayed up north, and, you know, I hear people call me N-word. They was hanging over the fence, flicking me off every time I came around the track. Every lap I would come through and give him the thumbs up, he would get even more pissed off and hang over the fence and flick me off even more. I didn't care.
Was there any part of you that was hurt by hearing that?
You know, I feel like me getting mad at them and me doing something to them is that's what they want. So for me to give them the thumbs up, it showed that I'm a bigger person, and to me, you don't even matter.
But it's not only Stewart's race that makes him stand out, it's the way he races.
You know, I get scared every time I race. I get on the gate, I freak out, I'm scared, I hate doing this, I don't want to do this. Every time we start a motorcycle, I say again, this is what I love to do. This is why I come here, this is why I train, because I love to have this feeling, that scared feeling of not knowing what's going to happen. I guess in a sense, I'm so afraid of losing that I scare myself to win.
He is shot out of that starting gate like a bullet out of a gun.
Well, it looks like James Stewart has blown everyone away here.
Triple, triple, triple. How good is this guy?
James is the fastest guy, for sure, that's ever raced a motocross bike.
Ricky Carmichael is widely considered the greatest motocross rider of all time. Carmichael competed against Stewart before retiring in 2007 and says that Stewart takes risks most other riders don't.
It would scare me because he's just going so fast. There's so many races he could have won just by backing it off, but I don't think he cares.
I'm just willing to push it to the edge. I said it before and I said it again, I'll die trying to win.
Stewart's aggressive style has led either to dominating victories or spectacular falls. Almost 99% of the time Stewart races, he wins or crashes. An all-out approach that has sent Stewart to the hospital with 7 concussions and a broken arm, leg, collarbone, and wrist.
Oh! James Stewart has just launched off his bike. This is an absolute disaster.
Every time I get hurt, I'm like, man, I don't want to do this anymore, but I still come back.
In 2008, just 3 months after tearing his left ACL, Stewart returned to racing and became only the second rider to complete a perfect motocross season when he won all 24 races.
A perfect 24 motos and 24 wins.
We at a point now that I never even dreamed of being.
James Sr. doesn't have to collect bottles and cans anymore. Today he maintains the family's private motocross track on his son's 100-acre estate in Central Florida. Counting his prize money and major endorsement deals, Stewart says that last year alone, he made $10 million.
Racing pays good. I mean, racing pays
you good.
Racing pays good. Right? Winning pays good. Winning pays good, I tell you that. And I don't feel bad of anything I've ever done. The $10 million, whatever it is, I don't care because I know where I came from. I earned every penny of that. And for me, it's been good. I've been blessed to be in a situation where I can earn this, and, you know, I like it.
Although Stewart is more successful than he ever imagined, changing the complexion of his sport may be his greatest achievement.
Definitely, I see a lot more black people come to the races, a lot more than it was in the past, and I see a lot more kids just trying to race and stuff, so I feel like I had an impact that way.
It's James Stewart.
When we sign buddy?
He's got two heroes, and Mickey Mouse is one, and you're the other. So.
James, being African American, I mean, it brought in a whole slew of different people. It's positive for our sport. It's huge for our sport. He's broken down the walls.
I think it's important for me to tell my story that, man, you can do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter what color, race. I feel like I'm a living example of that.
Michael, how is Stewart doing this season?
He crashed a couple of times early on, and it really put him in jeopardy of not being able to contend for the Supercross championship, but he's rallied to take the overall points lead, and he should claim the 2009 Supercross championship.
Okay, Saints, as you see, James Stewart, he was hot on that motorcycle. He was the best in the world at one time, until, I'm going to show you what happened to him, okay? But I want to read some highlights of his career. Start from Wikipedia. In 2008, he won every race and every moto of the AMA Supercross season. The only other person to do this is Ricky Carmichael. They call him the GOAT. So they call him the GOAT, but the only other person to do it was James Stewart, who had perfect seasons in 2002 and 2004. James is second in all-time 450 Supercross wins at 50, and second in all-time AMA Outdoor National wins at 48. He is also known for innovating the Bubba Scrub, or just Scrub. So that scrub you saw him do, I think I might show a little clip of him doing that. He's the first person to do it. We have the style. We're the salt of the earth. We're the trendsetters. Okay? Not them. We are. You can believe what you want to believe. Then it says, which revolutionized the sport and became a fundamental skill needed to compete in professional motocross. He was the first to host his own television show, Bubba's World, which brought even more attention to the sport. He is arguably the most financial lucrative racer, bringing in endorsement deals paying him over $10 million a year throughout his career. Known for his vibrant personality and big smile, James has been featured in news outlets like Rolling Stone, New York Times, Maxim, ESPN the Magazine, GQ, and many, many more. Additionally, Teen People named him one of the 20 teens who will change the world. He has the record for best rookie season, having won 10 out of 12 motocross races in 2002. James has 5 FIM World Championship titles for Motocross of Nations and World Supercross, 4 AMA Supercross Championship titles, and 3 AMA Motocross Championship titles. He won the Straight Bull Rhythm in both 2014 and 2015. He's a motocross legend who battled the greats of multiple eras. Okay, you can go on here and pull it up and you can read all his accomplishments and all the stuff he did. But what happened was, in 2016, I think it was 15, I'm sorry, said Stewart was suspended for 16 months for failing an anti-doping test. So they suspended him for 16 months. You can't come back after 16-month layoff and expect to compete against them guys. Not at that level. That sport is rigorous on your body and mental. So that's what happened to him. When he came back, he just wasn't the same. But everybody says, why did they give him such a hard sentence? Well, you know why. Don't we go before the judge to give us harder sentences than the other nations? It's the same thing. But this guy was so popular, they wanted to get rid of him. They want their kind in there. So yeah, they did this, and that's what happened to him. But he was a bad man. He was a bad man. I remember watching him, but ooh, wish y'all could have seen him. Anyway, so you can read on down about more of his accomplishments, but that's him, okay? And also I want to mention that, Joe Gibbs Racing of NASCAR, they picked him up when they started their team. That ought to tell you something. Joe Gibbs Racing won plenty of titles in NASCAR, but when they started their motocross team, they got James Bubba Stewart. Okay? So you didn't know about James Bubba Stewart. Now there's another one that you didn't know about. Okay? And we're going to watch a little clip. But his name is Lewis Hamilton. But let's watch a little clip of Lewis Hamilton, then I'm going to start back, okay?
From humble beginnings to multiple world championships, Lewis Hamilton's journey from a promising rookie to a multiple world champion is nothing short of remarkable. He began his racing career in karting at the age of 8, funded by his father Anthony, working multiple jobs. A precocious talent with incredible natural ability, he quickly started winning races. Within 3 years, he was part of the McLaren and Mercedes Young Driver program, and his rapid rise through the junior ranks began. Formula Renault and Formula 3 titles followed, and in 2006 he was crowned the GP2 champion, one step away from Formula 1 at what would prove to be an opportune moment. With the dual departures of Juan Pablo Montoya and Kimi Raikkonen, 2 seats had opened up at McLaren. One would be filled by the defending double world champion Fernando Alonso, and after showing stunning speed in testing, the other by the smiling 22-year-old from Hertfordshire. On his debut at the 2007 Australian Grand Prix, it was evident the McLaren team's confidence had not been misplaced. From the moment he ventured out onto the Albert Park circuit, Hamilton was super quick. Never outside the top 4 in all 3 practice sessions, he qualified with the 4th fastest time, earning him a second-row grid position for his maiden Grand Prix. His rookie performance was incredible.
Look at Kubica attacking Hamilton. We've got yellow flags at the back. Hamilton's had some manners put on him by Kubica, but he comes round the outside. He's also gone round Alonso. Stunning start by Lewis Hamilton.
It was confident and cocky, a racer's pass, which set the tone for the rest of his career in Formula 1. He cruised around Albert Park and, as Raikkonen made his first pit stop, suddenly found he had nothing in front of him and briefly led the race on his F1 debut. It was a near faultless drive, holding off his teammate Alonso, widely regarded as the fastest all-round driver on the grid at the time, until the final round of pit stops, where he was held up behind the Super Aguri of Takuma Sato and ultimately leapfrogged by the Spaniard, coming home in 3rd position.
I'm overwhelmed and ecstatic, and really to come across the line in 3rd. It's a great start for me, great start for the team. We've got some good points in the bag, and I'm looking forward to the next race.
A podium on your debut is a rare achievement, and this was a sensational drive from a sensational racing driver. Hamilton would go on a run of unprecedented success for a rookie, scoring 9 consecutive podium finishes at the start of the year and 12 in total. He claimed his first pole position in Canada, and in a chaotic race, he kept it together through multiple safety cars.
If he can do this after 6 races, what might he achieve in the future? Lewis Hamilton wins! Surely the first of many.
Victory in Canada was one of 4 that he took in a magnificent debut season, where he would come incredibly close to winning the title. Hamilton carried a 4-point lead to the final race in Sao Paulo, but a gearbox issue saw him lose too much time to his rivals, and a disappointing 7th place finish meant he missed out on an unprecedented rookie title by just a single point. But he would not be denied his dream, and began the 2008 season in even more spectacular fashion, winning in Melbourne, one of 5 victories that year, including Monaco and his home Grand Prix in Great Britain.
He came here to Silverstone and he has shown them all with one of the great drives at Silverstone. Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix.
Once again, Brazil would host the season showdown, where he held a 7-point lead over Ferrari's Felipe Massa. Despite intermittent rain at Interlagos, the Brazilian's incredible drive brought him victory at his home Grand Prix, triggering premature championship celebrations in the Prancing Horse garage. But in the last few corners, Hamilton broke Brazilian hearts.
Is that Glock? Is that Glock going slowly?
It is, it's Glock! Oh my goodness me! Hamilton's back in in position again. 100,000 local hearts sink in the grandstands. It's handed the place back to Hamilton. He comes through, and if I'm absolutely right, I'm sure that he is going to claim 5th place, which is all he needs to do to become the 2008 Formula One World Champion, Lewis Hamilton.
Very emotional, I would say. I've cried. My heart's feeling so much strain right now because I think it was the same for everyone. But I'm just very proud of the team and my family as well.
The following 3 seasons were not so successful, and Hamilton chose to leave McLaren and sign with the then struggling Mercedes team for 2013, replacing the retiring 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher. The move was considered by some a backward step, but Hamilton's instincts told him the potent combination of 3-time world champion Niki Lauda and Ross Brawn, the mastermind behind Schumacher's success at Ferrari, would be a good bet. How right he was. Paired with his old karting teammate, Nico Rosberg, his first season with the Silver Arrows was a difficult one, with just a single victory for Hamilton in Hungary. But the dawn of the turbo hybrid era in 2014 saw Mercedes develop a car that would dominate Formula One for the next 6 seasons, and the Briton reaped the rewards for his decision to switch teams. 11 Grand Prix victories, 6 more than his teammate, saw him storm to a 2nd driver's title.
World champion! Oh my God! I can't believe it! Thank you so much, guys!
Woo! It is the championship in 2015 for Lewis Hamilton.
10 triumphs in 2015 saw him make it a hat-trick, emulating his hero Ayrton Senna, but a string of bad luck and clashes with Rosberg saw him miss out in 2016. At the showdown in Abu Dhabi, it was his German teammate who prevailed, and then promptly announced his shock retirement. The next 2 seasons saw the boy from Stevenage cement his legacy. The story of 2017 was a resurgent Ferrari taking the fight to Mercedes, but Hamilton saw off the challenge of Sebastian Vettel to make it 4 titles.
Just a big thank you to my family, to my team. Mercedes have been incredible for the last 5 years, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
And the narrative continued the following year as Hamilton celebrated his 5th title at the Mexican Grand Prix. He made it a half-dozen crowns in 2019, moving clear of the great Juan Manuel Fangio, and second only to Michael Schumacher as the driver with the most Grand Prix victories and World Championship titles.
It's just overwhelming, if I'm really honest. It was such a tough race today. It's an honor to be up here with those greats.
From humble beginnings, Hamilton's singular commitment, supreme focus and consummate ability have proven beyond all doubt that he is a once-in-a-generation talent, and arguably the greatest racing driver of all time. And with more years left ahead of him, his success shows no signs of slowing down.
Okay, Saints, you saw the clip of Lewis Hamilton. All right, I bet you didn't know about him either. Because, we don't, as a people, we don't really follow racing. Basketball and football, that's about all we care about. We ain't into no other sports. But as you see, we dominating everything. What the scriptures say, we're above all nations on the face of the earth. It's not no lie. The Bible's a true book. So we're going to get a little highlights on Lewis Hamilton, okay? And also his father was instrumental in his upbringing. All right. Now, they just crowned, I won't say crowned, well, I don't know what they call it. Over there in Britain, when they do the little knight, they knighted, yeah, they call it knighting. They knighted Lewis Hamilton, so now he's a Sir Lewis Hamilton. Now, he's the only race car driver, well, no, he's not. He's the only black race car driver that did that too, right? So he's Sir Lewis Hamilton, okay? He has 7 world championships, 7. And he's going to get some more. He's going to be the best in Formula One. Formula One is the highest level of racing in the world. And a brother is leading it. Okay, so let's get some. Hamilton has been created with further into Formula One's global followed by appealing to a broader audience outside the sport. See that? In part due to his high-profile lifestyle, environmental and social activism, and his exploits in music and fashion, he has become a prominent advocate in the support of activism and combat racism and push for increased diversity in motorsport. Hamilton was listed in 2020 issue of Time as one of the most 100 influential people globally, and was knighted in the 2021 New Year's honor. Okay, now of course he got way more accomplishments besides Formula One. He was in racing go-karts, and he was a championship in that, right? And GP2, he was a champion in that, right? And he just signed a new deal with Mercedes, and he's getting paid some big time money. So I know you didn't know about, well, I assume you didn't know about James Bubba Stewart or Lewis Hamilton. I want you to see some other families that, you know, real popular in sports, okay? What about these two here? Everybody knows them, right? Venus and Serena. Who got them started in tennis? I don't have to read it all, but you know, their father. It's the same process, right? Venus and Serena. How many championships they done won? All in the news all the time. And it ain't but a few female, I don't even know of one, but one male tennis player. Just think if it was a lot of us. We would dominate. Okay? What about Michael Jordan? You know, his father was very instrumental in his success, right? Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. I don't have to pull up no video, no nothing. Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. All right? Okay, Saints, we're going to get a few scriptures, okay, on that kind of brings out a little bit of this, what's going on. And it started from the beginning, right? We were brought over in slavery. So let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, okay? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Everybody there? It reads, Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. So this was in slavery times, and some of this is still going on today, with child care services coming and take the kids out of the house. You know, it's still going on today to a certain extent. But in slavery, what they did, and I think you already know this, they separated the family. But really, truly today, they're really still doing it to a certain extent when they're putting, you know, the abortion clinics in your neighborhoods and all this kind of stuff. They're trying to stop our families from being together. Because just think about Black Wall Street and stuff like that. They had their family structure then, right? Before segregation, our families were together. But segregation, again, what did it do? It actually had a hand in separating our families. Because now we could be more like them. I don't think you saints are getting it. Some of you ain't getting it. Okay? Let's get another scripture. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. So let's go over a couple of pages. Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. Everybody should be there. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall lead. So these are some of the curses that's put on us. And you know this is happening. The father's leaving the family, okay? And gang violence and, you know, eye being evil toward our brother, okay? So we know this stuff is still going on today. And we're going to read verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. So again, not only do we have society or this world against us, we got our own people against us, our own families against us, because it's the curses that God put on our people because we don't keep his commandments. So this is real. It's realer than real. All right. Now, we're going to go to get one scripture here in Amos chapter 1. And I'm going to show you something. Amos chapter 1, verse 11. Amos chapter 1, verse 11. Everybody there? It says, "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom." Edom are the Edomites. They're the so-called white man. All right? It's the so-called white race, Edomites. So it's the nation of Edom. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4. I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother." His brother is Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons. His name changed to Israel. Okay? Those are the 12 tribes of Israel. That's us. It says, "Because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever." From when I'm reading this, it's saying that the Edomites, they're going to be mad forever at us. And if I'm reading this right, it says, "Did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity." He ain't got no pity for his brother Jacob, which is us. "And his anger did tear perpetually." That's forever. That's nonstop. "And he kept his wrath forever." So that's why they do us the way they do us. It's in their nature to do it. And we got the curses against us. That's why we got to come back and keep these commandments. We got to. It's our only hope. You can do what you want to do and stay in the Christian church and let them tell you all the lies. You see this shirt I got on? It says truth. You want to know the truth? I'm telling you the truth. Watch some of my videos. Get some understanding and pray to the Most High for truth. Not these lies. So now I'm going to get this other scripture. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. This scripture they know. Well, I say they, kid. People don't understand when I say they. I'm not talking about Joe Blow white boy walking down the street or your white friend at work. I'm talking about the ones that run this world. They know. Deuteronomy chapter 7. We're going to go to verse 6. Most of you already know this scripture. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Everybody there? "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God." Holy means set apart, separate. We're not supposed to be like them, but we try our best to be like them. We're not supposed to be like them. "The Lord thy God," so it says, "the Most High have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are on the face of the earth." It says above all people. It don't say equal to. He chose us to be above all people on the face of the earth. We're going to teach the nations to keep them laws, statutes, and commandments in the kingdom. We're going to do it. It's in the Bible. You want to believe that Christian church that says we all equal, going to be singing Kumbaya? That ain't in the Bible. You got to show it to me. Let me read verse 7. "The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you because you were more in number than any people." So we were the least in number of all the nations on earth. We were the least. It says, "For ye were the fewest of all people." So we were the fewest of all people on the face of the earth, and he chose us. But now we're as a sign to see. We're more than any people on the face of the earth. Check that out. That's in the scriptures too. So going from the fewest to now we're the most. I can get more on these scriptures, but I'm going to leave it there. But saints, what I want you to get out of this is what's going on with the black family. Of course, I always say black, but what's going on is they're trying to stop us from prospering. They're trying to stop us from multiplying because their time is short. The more people come into this world, and get this knowledge of the truth, the time to show. Every one of us that wake up, that's another second clicked off of them. And they know it. They know it. So my previous lesson, I taught on, keeping your temple up, right? Don't destroy your temple. You need to watch that, and you'll see that some of it ties in with this also, to how they're keeping us down as a people. So saints, we appreciate it again. You watching the channel, watch the channel, share all the videos. But until next time, Shalawam.
In motocross, the scrubbers became a game changer. A lot of people can teach you how to scrub, but there's only one person who can teach you how to Bubba scrub. The Bubba scrub was born out of pure necessity and my desire to win. A true Bubba scrub happens when you have the perfect mix between speed and commitment.
For me, I try to choose rolling jumps or triple faces. If there's bumps up to it, I'll pre-hop it, and then once the both wheels come off the ground, I'll actually lean towards the ground. Or if there's no bumps into it, just slide both wheels off the face of it. Right now, both wheels are off the ground. The bike is leaned over. At this point, I'm just kind of leaning with the motorcycle, trying to keep my head upright so I can still, focus and concentrate. As I'm starting to lean forward, I'm starting to pull the bike back up so I can straighten it up, because obviously when you do a Bubba scrub, you're only a few inches off the ground, so you don't have a lot of time to be able to stand the bike up. I usually try to turn my front wheels down. If you left it up, you wouldn't be able to lean the bike over. You would actually start losing the resistance of the bike, because there is a point where the bike is free. You're almost just kind of waiting for the bike to try to straighten itself back up. So if it doesn't, then you have to land wide open on the gas and almost pull it back out. To be honest with you, I hate doing the Bubba scrub. The gnarly Bubba scrubs are when you're doing it really low, is when you're trying to pass somebody, and those are dangerous. I invented the move. I don't do it a lot, because when I do it, I make it count.